You know, it's a shame that some films are just not appreciated in their time. There is no reason why Night of the Hunter should have been a flop when it came out in 1955. I'm about to break down a specific scene in the film, but let me wax poetic for a second on how great this movie is. When watching old films in modern times, it's often difficult to feel the emotions that the audiences would have felt back when they were intended. Meaning a horror film from the 1950s wouldn't scare a modern audience like it would have back then. But my goodness, that is not the case with Night of the Hunter. It's not even technically a horror film, but it is bone-chillingly frightening. It's about a preacher who was cellmates with a man who stole $10,000 and hid it somewhere on his land. The man dies in prison, but the preacher is released and he goes after this man's family, trying to figure out where this money is. He marries the mother and torments the children. And this performance by Robert Mitchum is one of the best performances I've ever seen. He's terrifying as he stalks these kids because they're the only ones who know where their father put the money. Really, it's one of the all-time performances that's not spoken of enough. In fact, all of the performances are great in it. Shelley Winters playing a broken, manipulated woman just looking for peace is excellent. But beyond that, this film visually is just stunning. The images are gothic and noir inspired. Its gothic inspired imagery are some of the most frightening images you'll see in cinema of any era. And the tone and the pacing will leave you gripping the edge of your seat. It was Charles Laughton's first and only directed film, and he did an amazing job with this. This film is visually not like any other film that came out around the same time period. The way he constructs his images, the way he moves his camera, the way he directed his actors is just phenomenal. He set a tone to make the audience feel uncomfortably afraid as these children are being tormented and stalked by this man. And the only reason this film failed is because at the time, United Artists felt that this film was too artsy for general audiences. They put no money behind this film promotionally, even though it was one of the best films of the year. They just let it flop, killing a promising directorial career. Now, the scene I'm about to show you sets the tone perfectly. It's frightening and disturbing, and a perfect example of why Charles Laughton's direction was so incredible in this film. The scene is set at night, and the sound of the night air and the crickets chirping are pierced by Robert Mitchum singing Leaning on the Everlasting Love, as he's done multiple times in this film.
Safe and secure from all.
You can see it earlier here in another frightening scene as the kids are running from this man through the land and hear him singing in the distance. This silhouette as he sings and rides his horse across the land is so terrifying in context. Take a look at this scene. You have the old woman that took in the kids sitting on the porch with a shotgun protecting them from the preacher. Visually, it's a battle of good and evil, someone who wishes to harm the kids and someone who wishes to protect them. And then she joins in singing.
Lean on Jesus.
Their harmonies are battling it out as the fate of these children lie in the balance. Notice how she's haloed with this light behind her, and he's shrouded in darkness. It's a great visual representation of what's going on. And then you have this moment here, where another one of the children that this lady is fostering comes up with a candlelight, obscuring the preacher with the light on the screen. Then the candle is blown out, and he's gone. This disturbing and creepy tone is the one that flows throughout the film. Because we're dealing with children, the danger feels so much more elevated. Again, this film is not a horror film, but it's so horrifying. I'm telling you, if you want a good film, that'll frighten you but also entertain the hell out of you, watch Night of the Hunter. It's really one of the best films to come out of the 50s, and it's a gem of a film that most people don't know unless you're a cinephile. If you're a filmmaker looking to learn tone and pacing, this film is the one you need to watch. It's really that damn good.